Saints Row is a beloved franchise by many that's usually known for its over-the-top action, zany but lovable characters, and in-depth gameplay. So when the Saints Row reboot came out in 2022 and was met with really poor reception, I was filled with this curiosity as to what the hell happened to this franchise, what happened to this game? Is this reboot as bad as these reviewers were saying, or fans just complaining about a franchise going through changes that they weren't ready for, or did Volition really mess things up that bad? Well, after picking the game up on Prime Day for the price of a large movie popcorn, I decided to grab a friend and say, hey, let's beat the entire game. And surprisingly, after beating it, I can definitely say all those reviews were dead wrong. This game is way worse than any of the reviewers said it was. Listen, I had so much fun playing this game, but I'm fully aware that the only reason why was because I was playing with a friend. And if I didn't have that incentive when coming into this, I'm really not sure I'd ever make it to the end. Glitches, unfun game mechanics, and a really lackluster story made this game such a chore to beat. And with the glitches themselves making this the worst game I played this console generation, hands down. But to paint a bigger picture on this graffiti mural, let's begin with the story. Feel free to skip this part if you want to avoid story spoilers for a game that's a year old. The story sees you, your character created boss, rooming in with friends and not only struggling to pay rent, but also your college loans. Your character joins a private military organization to get money, gets fired, and you and your friends decide to start a gang to be your own boss. As a premise, I like this. It's not a bad setup and I can get behind it. And it's kind of real. Times are tough. The problem is that beyond its simple premise, this story sucks. This game sets up like 3 villains by the time you get to the end, and every single one of them just falls so flat on its face. It almost feels like the writers didn't know where they wanted to go with all this. In one instance, you think Sergio, leader of a rival gang, is gonna play this huge part in your gang's come up and be the final boss for at least Act 1. But the lead up is just so all over the place that it never feels like he's an actual threat. And when you finally do get to him,
oh my god. This is the worst after the siege fight.
there's not even a boss fight. He gets killed in a cutscene. From a player standpoint, his death didn't feel earned in the slightest. The second boss, Atticus, had the same lead up, a threat from the very beginning, and was a major obstacle for your character, only to be dealt with in a single cutscene, just like Sergio. And by the time you get to the final boss of the game, the Nohali, do you want to take a guess on how he gets dealt with? Wrong, because it wasn't a cutscene, it was a quick time event! I'll give credit where credit's due and say that this boss fight definitely had a little bit more lead up both in-game story and in gameplay, with a chase scene and helicopter fight being the actions taken before the quick time event. It just still feels wrong that this is how it really ended, considering what he put your character through. No mano a mano, no gunfight, just spamming rockets through a window. On top of that, the motives of the Nohali made absolutely no sense. He's shown to be some super hardcore badass that's essentially a one-man army your character arrests in the beginning of the game. By Act 2, he's working with your character in exchange for being broken out of prison. By Act 3, he betrays you because he's jealous of what you have. Huh? He boasts about wanting to take everything you built for yourself and make it his, including your friends. So by taking it, he destroys your gang and kills its members, and forces your friends to act out a scenario on stage like everything is fine, over and over again. How is that making everything you worked for his? It's like, I don't think I can verbally tell you how dumb this plotline is. I almost want to recommend you play this game for yourself so you can see how dumb it is. For those who played this game, you may also realize I didn't talk about the second rival gang, the Idols. Well, that's because they were so minuscule in this game's overall story that they aren't even that memorable. Before making this video and writing this script, I didn't even know who their gang leader was. I assumed it was one or two of these Daft Punk looking people, but it wasn't until after I researched this game that I discovered that there was 6 of them! I missed 6 leaders in this game because they just seemed like mini bosses gameplay wise, and story wise, they just introduced them just for them to be killed a minute later. The idols, shy of a very few moments, don't really hold any presence in this game's story and really had no business just being in the game. They could have been taken out and not much would have changed. All that comes together to create a story that does have moments and can get a laugh or two, but just overall doesn't work. Not to mention that this game jokes so much about communism and modern problems that it almost extends past satire. My co-op partner, who's a huge fan of the series, said it best. This is a game that the old Saints Row would have made fun of. I wanted to talk about the gameplay in this portion of the video and save the glitches for a later portion. The problem is that there's no way I could talk about the gameplay without bringing up its bugs and issues. I'm playing on a PS5, so I can't speak for every console when it comes to this game, and with the PC port around the corner, all this could change or get worse. But this game is so buggy and rich in glitches that it almost made this game unplayable. For starters, possibly one of the worst game-breaking bugs I've ever experienced in my life was this bug that made it so almost every time we'd fall out of a car, unless we reloaded a checkpoint or died, we were unable to enter the car again. Sometimes, any car, which in the free roam was fine, I guess, we'd get around it, until that glitch affected main story missions where both players needed to finish an objective in a car to continue, making us have to reset the mission again. One instance, this happened 10 times in a row and it almost got us to stop playing the game because of just how unbearable it was. And that wasn't the only glitch. Movement glitches, objective glitches, general jank that surpasses what you'd expect from games like this. This game is a year old and it's crazy to me how absolutely bug-ridden it is. I know gameplay tends to speak louder than words ever could, so...
Gene, hurry up. It won't let me in. You just gotta go. It won't let me get in the truck. Can you get in? God, please. No way! Please, bro. No way! You can't get in? No, I'm done for the night. I'm fucking, I can't.
And to top it all off, even if I wanted to look past the glitches and bugs and whack story, this game unfortunately isn't even that fun. All the cars feel the same, and I never felt a need to get a better car or upgrade it, and that feeling doubles for the guns. Once I maxed out all the stats to the base guns they give you, there was no incentive to ever change them. The map feels small, and every main mission has you driving between the same 5 highways. In a day and age where video game open worlds are starting to get too big and too empty, this one is too small and empty. The outside desert area is heavily underutilized, with only 2 main missions that come to mind that truly benefit going there. I guess you could continue the LARPing side missions, but you're really telling me this entire empty space exists just for these missions? The gun controls don't feel good, and though I appreciate the skill trees and perks, there never felt like there was any reason to try to unlock another perk slot or level up to get more skills. This whole game feels so rushed and unpolished like many games that came before it, but unlike a game like Cyberpunk, the efforts going in to improve this game feel so minuscule. And at the same time, with all that said, I could understand if someone played this game and did have a good time with it. There are things in this game that do work, and it can be one of those experiences that is so bad, it's almost good. I did shit on this game a lot, so I feel like it's only fair I do talk about what I did like about it. For starters, everything about wingsuiting. It's so stupid, but being able to wingsuit off of cars, fly onto another car, jump off a building, and glide through a map, I don't know, I'm a sucker for games adding traversals like this. I think the main cast of characters, Nina, Eli, and Kevin, are all written great and I love their characters. Even your playable boss. They're all crazy but lovable, and in certain ways, even relatable. And though their line delivery can be so ass sometimes, they do have their moments where they're funny as hell.
Oh my god.
I think this game does have its great moments and greater set pieces, such as the prison break and the boat heist. Two moments that both felt extremely over the top, had the music to match, and truly felt like Saints Row.
Yeah, I so fuck with the song, it's nuts.
This is a fire ass fucking prison break song. Doesn't he just trying to kill us too?
If the rest of the game was made with this level of energy and detail, I don't think a lot of us would have any issues with it. Even certain cutscenes were done extremely well. Missions that required towing, LARPing, or driving through obstacles were all fun and were a nice change of pace from like the normal gunplay, even though they didn't always work. But unfortunately, Saints Row was just a commercial flop, and it's unclear if we're ever going to get another game in the series because of how bad this one did. I'll always give credit where credit's due and say that by the time of making this video, they did release a super mega patch to address countless issues in the game. There was a bunch of stuff I didn't even know was a problem. But in that same vein, it's insane the game is hitting its 1 year and we're getting this now. Why? To set up for the DLC? To fix the game before its big PC release? I don't know, man, just feels kind of weird the timing on this. It's like they're trying to save face to make more money and not because they actually care about the game, which is such a shame. I know Saints Row is a franchise loved by many, and I have many fond memories of playing the early titles myself. But after playing this, shy of a reboot to this reboot, I can't ever imagine running with the Saints again.